remembered. I want to put the pieces of your body back together again, like Orset did for Orsia way back then, when we could claim greatness and quickly ascend to the highest of heights, the greatest in might. But we're not really there yet. We're still trying to get our feet wet, going around debating about this and about that. When the pharaohs built pyramids to project their spirits to the stars, we're still out here trying to figure out who we are. They had it down to a science. They knew the magic spells. They had power over death and hell. When are we going to see that the gods and goddesses are resurrected in this day and age? When are we going to acknowledge that the foundation has already been laid? For us to become like them, for our people to finally ascend and go back to where it began, while still moving forward in our minds, can you perceive that now is the time? We don't have to dream about being powerful and supreme. Just tap into the potential within in order to begin again, over and over again, until we get it right, until we win this fight, for scattered bodies to be remembered and for our spirits to reignite. Amen.
Peace and Black Power. Welcome to another edition of Baba TV, House of Consciousness. It's my absolute pleasure to be in the presence of this sister, SORIYA Mayat NEFER. This sister is a spoken word poetess, creatress, artivist, entrepreneur, and community activist. She has done background work in the set of Malcolm X, actor Denzel Washington, the entrepreneur with Nicole Kidman, and Ali with Will Smith, where she had a walk-on role and received her first waiver. She has also worked on industrial films centered on educating children and adolescents. In addition to performing at open mics and various venues such as the Black Lady Theater, Melba's, Paris Blues, the Peace Cafe, and Mocha's, and the New York Public Library, she has taken acting classes at the Federation Theater and performed in a play at the All-Star Theater after completing acting class. SORIYA also enjoys working with African-centered organizations to help educate, uplift, and raise awareness about African diasporic cultural and spiritual identity. She also has a YouTube channel where her poetry is featured along with some of her DIY projects, which includes crystal votives, comedic candles, cowrie shells, head beads, arts and crafts for kids. She also has 2 Facebook pages, one for aspiring actors and actresses called Lights, Cameras, Action, and one featuring one of her very first DIYs called SORIYA's Cowrie Shell Headbands. Sister, you do a lot, and I'm just
consider myself a polymath, so to speak. I just heard that term the other day.
Yes, ma'am. I'm just elated that you even want to consider to get on Baba TV, and we thought we'd do it in Whole Foods. It's a nice, quiet environment, pleasant environment. It's the first time I've been in this particular Whole Foods on 125th Street. So Anetta was in here and told me about it, and it's really nice. It's a nice facility. So with that being said, whatever on your heart and mind, talk to the people, my sister.
Absolutely. So again, my name is SORIYA Mayat, and I just want to touch on my latest endeavor, which is to become a spiritual practitioner. And this I take very seriously, because I realize that now all that I've gone through in my life leading up to this point lets me know, or dictates to me, that I'm an empath.
So therefore, I have to begin doing rituals in order to protect against being attacked by psychic vampires, low vibrational beings, jinns, and so forth. So I first discovered that I was an empath when I started working for an elderly lady named Miss McKinney, a 92-year-old woman who recently passed away. I was a home health aide, and I used to have to sleep in her house. So the first week that I started working there, I noticed that she was having nightmares, and she would scream out loud in her sleep. She would just wake up, she would scream, literally like scream to the top of her lungs. So one night, she screamed, and I went to her room, and I said to her, "Miss McKinney, what is the matter? What's going on?" And she proceeded to point up to the ceiling and said, "I was up there." So that let me know that those malevolent forces that I was feeling at night was her leaving her body and attacking me on a spiritual level or psychic level, or however you choose to term it. So that's when I really had to come to terms with the fact that I'm an empath and I pick up on people's energy. And at that point, I began to burn sage. I began to burn sage every night when I slept there. And when I burnt my sage, I noticed I didn't have any problems with her or anything else that could have been her house attacking me in my sleep. So I was so serious about this. I knew that if I was going to work for this elderly lady, that I had to protect myself. So she was going through a lot of physical stress. She had rheumatoid arthritis. She would complain about her hands being sticky and feeling like glue. And there were times when I would actually feel that. My hands would start feeling sticky and feeling like glue. And when I slept in the bed, I would feel pain in my feet. And you know, patients who have rheumatoid arthritis, they have pain, you know. And she couldn't walk. So while I was empathetic towards her plight or her situation, I also knew I had to protect myself. I had to protect my auric field. So as I said, I began to burn sage incessantly. You know, I had to burn it every night. And so that one night that I decided not to burn it, I came under attack again. So I was like, I'm not going to make that mistake. And then eventually her daughter found out that I was burning incense, and she said, "You can't burn incense in my house. We're Christians, you know, we don't believe in that." And I said to myself, well, you know what, forget all the religion and all of that other stuff, but I have to protect myself. This is about me protecting my auric field and just being very, you know, concerned about that. So eventually that job, you know, it terminated. It came to an end. So I left the job, and you know, I got back into my craft of making body butters and my Kemetic candles, my DIY crystal votives. So so that's what I focused on more or less, and my poetry. So with that being said, you know, I know that if I ever was to work with an elderly person or someone, you know, of that age with all of those health issues, and I had to sleep in their house, which I know I'm never really going to do, but if that happened again, I know what I have to do to protect myself. So I decided, yes, I need to really start thinking about what it is I need to do in terms of taking my practice, or my spiritual practice I should say, a step further, taking it to the next level. So I decided that I'm going to do what is called self-care, not only for myself, but for other people, for my family, my friends. So I put together a spiritual protection kit. And I told another friend who happens to be an empath about it. I really just met him. We've been talking on Instagram, and he's been telling me about how he's been coming under attack as well. So I let him know that now that I'm becoming a spiritual practitioner, I have something that can help you as an empath to protect your auric field. And scientists are really just beginning to know about this. They call it a biofield or an electromagnetic field. But we in the spiritual community, or conscious community, I should say, we know it to be an auric field. And our auric field extends outward about 2 feet or more. And anybody that comes in contact with your auric field, or anyone you come in contact with who's going through problems, whether they're depressed, whether they have health issues, whether they have anxiety, you're going to begin to feel that as an empath. You pick up on people's energy. So there are ways you can protect yourself against that. So that's why I'm becoming more aware, and I'm studying now. I'm beginning to research and find out, what it is that an empath needs to do in order to protect herself on a mental, or himself on a mental, the spiritual, as well as the physical. Because as I said, I was actually picking up on this lady's symptoms. When she felt like her hands were gritty and felt like sand, I was beginning to feel that. She suffered from rheumatoid arthritis. When I slept in the bed, I was beginning to feel pain in my legs. And her daughter put her in that same bed one night that I had to sleep in. And I didn't want to do it, but I had to, because I had to work for her. So again, if I ever have to work for an elderly person, I know what I have to do. So I burn sage, and I'm just learning about the power of white sage. About the power of white sage. It is much better than regular sage. And I also burn sweetgrass. That is also something that invites positivity, and it wards away the negativity. So that's pretty much it in terms of my spiritual practice. So again, I'm making spiritual protection kits for anyone who feels that they're an empath, who may have had the same experiences as I've had, and who would like to protect their auric field. So I have spiritual protection kits. I sell them on eBay. I'm not really trying to pitch, my product, but I just want you to know, I'm just putting it out there just in case you feel that this might be you, or you can relate to what I'm saying. So with that being said, now I'd like to touch on my poetry and my artivism. I am a spoken word poet, and I've been doing poetry for quite some time. I would say about maybe 25, 30 years. But my mom says I was, when I was young, that I would like to recite poetry around the house, and I was always good with words. So I use that to my advantage, and as of late, I've been, going to different venues and reciting poetry. I've gone to the Black Lady Theater, that's every Thursday. I recited poetry there. I've gone to the Peace Cafe, a club called Mocha, or is it a restaurant called Mocha, Melba's, Paris Blues. I've even recited at the public library. So I've been getting my feet wet and going to different venues and just reciting poetry. That's like my first love besides acting. So, and I have material that I put on my Facebook, my YouTube as well. You can find me on YouTube on SORIYA, or at SORIYA NEFER on YouTube. So I would like to add more content to my channel, and keep people coming to my page and visiting my page. I haven't added any content as of late, but I've been really busy, developing my business and just being active in the community. So you can visit my page, it's SORIYA NEFER, and you can see my DIY crystal votives. You can see my my Kemetic candles. You'll see my DIY lip balms that I make. They're all natural, organic, no dyes, no perfumes. And you can also see my poetry. So there might be some other things that I left out because I do so much, and sometimes I forget. So, and with that being said, I think that's really it about me. So I'm going to give the microphone back to Baba, and if I can think of anything else to enlighten you on, or talk to you about, that anything that comes to me, I'll definitely let you know. But so far, I think I've said it all about myself. And again, I'm on Facebook as well. It's SORIYA NEFER. You can follow me on Facebook, and you can follow me on Instagram at SORIYA1474 if you want to know more about my DIY lip balms and body butters. So that's pretty much it. Thank you. Peace.
Talk about some of the stuff that you make, the crystals, and go in a little bit more into the spiritual aspects of the importance of the crystals.
Oh. Well, actually, they're not actual crystals. I call it crystal votives because what I do is I infuse this a glass jar. I infuse it with glitter, and it's very shiny, very shimmery. And I put a tea light inside of it, and I put little crystal stones inside of it, and they come in different colors, a variation of colors, light blue, red, green, purple, white, yellow, and they light up. You can put them on a table. They're good for putting on your nightstand next to your bed, and they're very calming. So it's called crystal votives, but they don't actually have real crystals in them, but they're very beautiful. So that's a DIY that I've created, and it's featured on my Facebook. I don't think I have it on my YouTube. And I was making Kemetic candles when I first started out with the DIY. That's another one of my creations. And what I would do, and this is funny, I would actually get the pictures off of Facebook, and I would print them out, and I would put them on my candles, and then I would put a cowrie shell on top of it, and they're very beautiful. And but in 2012, I was making cowrie shell headbands, and that was a magic moment for me, an aha moment. These cowrie shell headbands, they were transformative. It was almost as if they transformed my life. Someone told me I have what is called the divine spark. So when I put the cowrie shell headband on, I walked down the block and people literally were stopping me. I could not get down the street. They were saying things to me like, "You look like an African goddess." They would call me Nefertari or Nefertiti. They would call me Ethiopian princess. I mean, they was just like ascribing so many different names to me. And one day, as I was walking down towards 125th Street, a lady saw me with my cowrie shell headband on, and she was in a car. And she literally got outside. She had a sunroof, and she got outside of the car, and she was like, Miss, where can I get that cowrie shell head?" I was like, "Are you serious?" So I didn't even know that was the kind of magic that I would create when I made those cowrie shell headbands. But it was really amazing, and I just felt like my ancestors were really with me at that moment. So that was one of my magical moments. So I started making those in 2012, and I created a page called Soriya's Cowrie Shell Headbands, and you can still find that page. So the Kemetic candles, the cowrie shell headbands, the crystal votives, and I think that's about it. So yeah.
Powerful. Talk a little bit about the background work that you did for on the set of Malcolm X.
Well, that was a very amazing experience. I think that was the first time I actually was in a movie with a major celebrity, and I actually got the chance to meet Denzel. He autographed a picture for me, and so I was on the set, and this was a Spike Lee movie, a Spike Lee joint, and I had 3 different background roles. I played a Muslim. I also played a pedestrian dressed in period clothes. And I played a Muslim again, and I was at the mosque on 116th and 7th Avenue. But that mosque is closed down. So I was in about 3 different, maybe 4 different scenes. I was in a scene in front of North General Hospital where it was winter. It was freezing outside. And they were coming and they were putting makeup on my face, and it was really amazing. And so that day, that scene was basically about when Malcolm X, he signaled the crowd, or the FOI, to turn around, and at the gesture of his finger, everyone just turned around. And it was just so like, wow, like he has that kind of power. So that was in front of North General Hospital. That hospital's no longer there, but I still remember it's like as though it was yesterday. So that was my experience on the set of Malcolm X, and it was really nice. I enjoyed myself.
Powerful, sis. Now talk about, because you said you were at, you did open mic at the Black Lady Theater, which Baba Heru is King Simon is doing a tribute for him. Hopefully, will you be there? Good. I will too, sis. Talk about the open mic at, it's a beautiful facility. I was by there the other day on Nostrand Avenue. Talk about the open mic that you used to do at the Black Lady Theater.
Well, actually, I was just there last night. This is Friday? Or no, I was there on Thursday night. Today is Saturday. So yeah, I was there on Thursday. And I recited my poem titled Remembered. And that's the same one that I recited on Sonetta TV. And so I've gone there at least 3 times. The last time I went there, they was having a Calypso event. So I went there and I didn't get a chance to recite poetry. But I like going there because I feel like I'm really with family, you know. I like the intimacy. I like the fact that I can feel comfortable. You know, I don't have to feel like, oh, people are watching me. I don't feel nervous. So I find that the more I get out and recite poetry, the more I get used to it. It's like second nature, or should I say first nature. So I go there every Thursday. Hopefully I'll be there next Thursday. It starts at 7 o'clock. And it's $10. It's just a little, you know, fee just to get in and support the theater, you know, because they need people coming in and supporting what they're doing. And Queen Afu is also there. I'm not sure if she's a co-owner or a founder or what have you, but it's formerly the Slave Theater. So there's a story behind that as well. So yes, it's every Thursday at the Black Lady Theater at 7 o'clock.
All right, sister, and talk about a little bit about the industrial films geared that you did geared towards educating the children.
Yes, well, I also had a background role on an industrial film, and my son was also involved in that. He was only, what, maybe about 11 or 12 years old. So that was basically a film about peer pressure. You know, how to educate children away from getting involved in negative, you know, elements in our community, because, you know, we do have that. That's something that we have to face, and, you know, we have to try to uproot it or redirect young people who don't really have an outlet or have any direction. So, yes, it was an industrial film that I was involved in, I would say about maybe 20 years ago. And that's when I had my oldest son into acting, but he's no longer into acting. So it was basically to raise awareness, you know, and to educate children and young people about the pressures of succumbing to peer pressure and not following the crowd, like being a leader, you know, having your own mind, thinking for yourself, you know, not being so fast to run off with people who you know are going in the wrong direction.
That was powerful. Well, if you don't have anything else to say, I want to conclude this interview by giving a shout out to the Nuwaubians. Absolutely. And it matters not to me the streams of thought that our people may go down. Baba TV is for the whole entire black family, and I'm into the information no matter who brings it. You know, it's not I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say one day, you know, it's not a family until everybody is in the house.
And I would definitely like to touch on that in terms of it's not about who you belong to, you know. And I really need to say this, I have to get this out, because I look at myself as being an African woman who is connected to the diaspora, okay? I am connected to Mother Africa, okay? We all are. If this is your color, if this is your skin tone, if you are brown, yellow, black, if your hue is yellow caramel, if your hue is darker brown, whatever your hue is, we are all connected to the diaspora, okay, as African people. So I am beginning to see myself as a cosmic being, not as, I don't want to be included into that caste as, oh, you belong to this sect or you belong to this group. No, I'm a cosmic being. I'm an evolved person. I am evolving every day. The universe is expanding, okay? Change is constant. So I don't want to just typecast myself as being a Nuwaubian, okay? I am more than that, okay? I am multi-dimensional, okay? I am a progressive African woman, okay? I am multi-talented, okay? So to say Nubian or RBG, those are just titles. That's what that is. So I'm not going to really give myself a title because I don't think that's really what it really should be about in this day and time anyway. So as Baba said, he reaches out to everybody, no matter your persuasion, no matter your calling in life, no matter your religious background. So this is what I wanted to touch on as well. So yes, I consider myself an evolved person, somebody who's growing constantly, someone who is learning, someone who makes mistakes and is willing to admit to them. So we are beautiful people. We are African people. And as soon as we can begin to see that and come together on one common cause, as I said on Sanetta TV, and we can put our differences aside and begin to see that we are just African people, okay, who've been spread about. And some of us are confused. We don't even know what to call ourselves. We don't know what to call ourselves. He said, we call ourselves Nubians, we call ourselves Africans, we call ourselves colored, we call ourselves black. This is how, the spell is really deep, that we don't know what to call ourselves. But that's pretty much it. So if you want to consider me a Nubian, fine, I'll be a Nubian. But first and foremost, I'm an African woman. That's who I am. And that's what I ascribe to.